coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. This is the award-winning ParaReality Radio. I'm your host, Sandman. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. It's Friday, July 5th, 2019, and that means that it's time for another episode of your favorite paranormal podcast, ParaReality Radio. I hope that everyone had a safe and happy Independence Day yesterday. You know, it seems that everybody wants to call this holiday the 4th of July. That's the date of the holiday, not the actual holiday itself. The name of the holiday is Independence Day, and I wish everyone would get in the habit of calling it that. We don't say, Merry 25th of December, right? No, we say Merry Christmas because that's the name of the holiday. So why should Independence Day be any different? So from now on, don't say Happy 4th of July. Say Happy Independence Day, because that's what we're celebrating, the independence of the great nation of the United States of America, the greatest place in the world to live. Yes, we have our problems, but no, there's not really any other nation that I would want to live in. I love the United States. So from now on, don't say Happy 4th of July, people. Say Happy Independence Day. Okay, so that's enough of that. After all, you're not here to listen to me talk about the nuances of how to call holidays by their proper names, right? You're here to listen to a podcast about the paranormal. So without any further delay, let's get on with the show. Tonight, I'm interviewing a family whose members have had some varying paranormal experiences. I call this family the Paranormal Family. And the process of this interview began with a phone call several months ago from a family member, Jason. And he's a longtime listener of the podcast, and he left a message on the studio line that reminded me about a contest that he had entered many years ago, back when I was on Live 365, that he actually came in third place. And he said, he just made the offhanded comment, if you want to talk about it sometime, I'd love to talk about it. So you all know that I'd love to interview people just like me and you, the normal, everyday person, about their experiences. So I contacted Jason, and after a few phone conversations and text messages and emails back and forth, we finally worked out a date where I could interview not only Jason, but a couple of other members of his family who have had some paranormal experiences. Now, before I play the interview, I want to explain a couple of things. First, I will not be using any last names of anyone that I'm interviewing tonight. Second, I will not be telling you where exactly it is that this family lives, nor will I be giving out any of their contact information. This is all to help maintain their confidentiality. If you listen to this podcast and you happen to want to get in contact with one of these family members for whatever reason, just to ask them a question, or maybe you have a podcast or a show that you want to interview them on, just please get in touch with me. And I'm going to tell you many times, as you know, I always tell you several times how you can get in contact with me. But just send me an email, sandman@ParaReality.com. Before I begin the show, of course, speaking of how you can get in touch with me, let me tell you how you can do that, because there are many different ways. First of all, you can send an email to the aforementioned email address, sandman@ParaReality.com, or you can just simply go to my website, www.ParaReality.com, and click on the About tab, and you can fill out the contact form there. Why you would want to do that, I don't know, because sending me an email is just, it's much easier, much more direct. But I do have a contact form on the About page. The show's also available on Facebook. Just look for ParaReality Radio when you sign on to Facebook. And you can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is @ParaRealRadio. That's @ParaRealRadio. And finally, you can still call the studio line. That's 615-692-1170. And you can leave me a message. I'm always in and out of the studio. I'm working on the podcast a lot, and you just may catch me in the studio, and I may answer the phone. You never know. But if you've had some sort of comment about the show, if you have an idea for an upcoming episode, if you want to be interviewed, or if you just have a story that you want to tell and you don't necessarily want to be interviewed on the show, just call 615-692-1170 and leave a message on the studio line. Just be aware that I may play your comment or your message or whatever that you leave me back on the show. Simply by leaving me a message is giving me permission to play that back. If you don't want me to play back your comment, please tell me, don't play this on your show. Otherwise, the chances are high that I may do that. Okay, first what I'm going to do is play Jason's original message that he left on the studio line several months ago. Now, the sound quality here isn't that great because I think he was calling from maybe a cell phone, and there's a lot of static and background noise, like maybe he was at work or standing beside a highway or something like that. The sound quality is not all that great, but I did want to play this original message so you could kind of get an idea for where this is going to be headed. So here is Jason's original message.
Hey, man, Jason, long-time listener, back before you retired, but I just found you on Stitcher. I'm really happy to try to catch up on all these shows. I entered a contest back in the live 365 days, and I was like placed third. It was a UFO sighting I had, but I can tell the story again sometime if you wanted to put that on. Just let me know. I'm glad you got a co-host. It's going to be interesting to see how your ideas and things bounce off of him. I think he might be a little stronger microphone, though. It's hard to hear him, but I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Good luck.
After I received that message, I contacted Jason, and that led to the following interview, and I hope that you enjoy it. Okay, everybody, to kick tonight's show off, I have 3 very special guests on the studio line, and it's actually a family who has had some, hesitate to say paranormal experiences because it involves more than just that. Let's just say they've had some really unexplained experiences, some really unusual things involving UFOs and the paranormal. And this is a family that I have talked to a couple of times trying to set this thing up. It's been a long time we've been trying to set this interview up. This family hails from the great state of Pennsylvania. I have Jason and his daughter Hannah and Jason's sister Jessica on the line. Welcome, you 3 great people, to ParaReality Radio. I appreciate you being a guest on the show, all 3 of you.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
An honor.
Thanks.
Yeah, I am so glad to have you guys on the show. Like I said, Jason, you and I have we've been talking. We've done text messages and emails and talked on the phone a couple of times. And we've been doing this since February of this year. I was just looking back at some of our conversations via text, and we've been trying to set this thing up since February. It's just been a scheduling problem, and I really appreciate you getting your family together and bringing them on the show, and the 3 of you talking about your experiences that you've had.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long-time listener, and it's great to finally be able to contribute. We have these experiences that are somewhat, well, they're totally different and detached from one another, but I thought that it'd be interesting, so, yeah.
Well, Jason, I'm always looking for just the everyday, normal people such as myself who's had something unusual happen to them that they can't explain. And so many people want to interview the big names. They want people who've been on TV, and they want people who've written books and documentaries and all this other sorts of stuff. And, all that stuff's great. I've interviewed those people too, but I really like hearing from people just like me who have had a experience that they can't explain and are willing to get on the show and talk about it. And maybe, together, maybe we can come up with some plausible answers to what it was that you saw or whatever it was that happened to you. So once again, I really appreciate you and your family being on the show this evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Sam, man.
Well, why don't we start with you and your daughter, Hannah? And I'm understanding that 4 or 5 years ago, you guys were at the Gettysburg battlefield, and you had a couple of experiences happen to you. Each one of you had something happen, but it was each one was different. So, Jason, we'll start with you first. Tell me about the experience that you had. What were you doing, and what happened to you when you were at Gettysburg?
Well, Hannah was, I think, 9 years old, and I asked her if she wanted to go, and she was into the ghost adventures and that kind of stuff, watching on TV, and she wanted to go somewhere haunted, and I'm like, oh heck, we're right up the road from one of the most haunted places in America, so we scheduled Gettysburg vacation. The Town Inn was something featured on, I think it was Ghost Hunters, and we booked that. So we got there, and nothing really crazy happened there. It was little stuff. Yeah, little stuff. We first got, we had some lunch meat and apples and things. We had a little tiny fridge in the room we were staying in. And for people who don't know, the Cash Town was a little farmhouse outside of Gettysburg that Confederate generals would plan at, and they'd stay there. It was a little ways away from the battlefield, but it was said to be haunted by a lady. But so we were just loading up the fridge, and I dropped an apple, and I heard it bounce once. The fridge was kind of catty-cornered against the wall, and I looked around for the apple. I couldn't find it, and I had the girls looking. All you heard was one bounce, and then we found it behind the refrigerator, which was odd. And I tried to recreate it and roll it back there, and we couldn't get it to go back there by force of gravity. So that was the first strange thing. And then
let me hang on before you continue. Let me ask you a question about that. This place that you were staying in, you said was supposed to be haunted by a female?
Yeah.
Can you expound on that? Can you tell me a little bit about who was supposed to be haunting that, and why do you know?
I only know because after we stayed there, and this was, Hannah's 14 now, she was 9, that was 5 years ago. I remember going back and watching that Ghost Hunters episode, and they did speak about a woman. I should do my research, but I that's all I remember. And I also remember that one of the ghost hunters heard footsteps and walk right up to him. We didn't get that lucky, but
okay. So just the apple was in a place where it couldn't have possibly gotten to by itself.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went. I think it was we stayed there that night. Then we got up. We went running, seeing all the sights, and up and down the battlefields. We were whipped, but we come home. Everyone got a shower, and we went down to sleep. And I heard a tap coming from the shower. It sounded like water dripping on the shower, But I'm drifting off to sleep, and I just keep hearing this tap every once in a while. And I'm just starting to go to sleep, and then I hear a smack on that same kind of fiberglass or whatever the shower. It just sounded like something just whacked it as hard as it could with a wet rag or something.
Right.
So I jumped up and went in there. We had the voice recorders, so I started asking questions. The girls are out. I didn't wake them up. But then I let it play all night, the voice recorder, and just caught myself snoring pretty much. So that was anticlimactic.
So no EVPs. You didn't catch anything unusual on your recorder.
No, I listened to it the whole way through, and that was just me snoring. But
now, what time of the morning was this when this happened? And I'm asking this for a reason.
It was right around midnight because we went to bed kind of early. I think we were all down by 11, so it might have been around 11:30ish, 12.
The reason I was asking is because the witching hour, as they say, most people consider it to be midnight, but that's a misnomer. Usually it's around 3 a.m. is when you're going to have a lot of activity that's going to happen, especially if it's, let's just say, demonic activity or something of that nature. So I was wondering, that's why about the time, because if it happened around the 3 o'clock a.m. hour, I was going to say that was probably no bueno right there. But if it was midnight, then probably not an evil entity.
Yeah, well, that's a relief. We were looking for a little adventure, but you don't really want to play with that stuff.
Well, unfortunately, there's a trend that's going around the world of the paranormal investigating now. That's everybody wants to be quick to say, oh, this is whatever's haunting is it's an evil entity, it's demonic, and you see it on Ghost Adventures with Zach and his crew, and now there's this show that was just recently on, I think, the Travel Channel called Portals to Hell, where what's his name's oh God, I can't remember his name. Jack Osborne and Christina Wedderman, where they're looking for portals to hell, these demonic activity stuff. So I think there's a trend going around with paranormal investigating these days that involves demonic activity, and I think that's really just for ratings. I don't really think there's a lot to that. Not every place you go that's haunted has a demon or an evil entity in it, And I certainly don't think that was your case. So anyway, I kind of interrupt you. So go ahead with your story and tell me some more.
Well, that's pretty much it for the Cash Town. Then I was a little anticlimactic, but hey, we had a couple little thrills. The real juicy stuff happened, and my daughter was the witness down on the battlefield. We parked at Little Round Top, walked down into the Devil's Den, and on the way back to the car, she had an experience, and I'll let her tell that.
So I was walking a little bit ahead of everyone, so I got to the car early, and I had my hand on the handle because the car was locked, and I couldn't get in yet. And I just had this urge to turn around, and I don't know why, but I did, and I saw this tall man standing behind me with this olive green pants, and he was standing with his arms at his side, and he looked very formal. And then in a blink of an eye, he was gone. And I was just so taken back by it. I was just speechless for a few seconds. And then once we got in the car, I told everyone about it. And, just blew my mind.
So nobody else was a witness to this? No one else saw it?
No.
And was this guy dressed in Civil War era attire, or was it more modern clothing?
I would say, because it was like I said, he had those, it was dressed on. His skirt was formal. I don't exactly remember, what it was, but I remember it was, a t-shirt, and arms at his side.
And I'm going to ask that you speak up a little bit or get a little bit closer to the mic because you're fading out on us, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's much better right there. So tell me again what you thought he looked like, because you faded out about a quarter of the way through that description.
Okay. Like I said, he had the nice dress pants on that were the olive green color. And he had a nice dress shirt on, and he was standing arms at his side, very formal. And it looked like he had a hat on, but I couldn't see his face too good because it was shaded. The hat was causing shade to be on his face. I couldn't see.
Did he make any gestures or motions, or was he just standing there staring at you?
He was just standing there. It didn't even look like he was staring at me. It just looked like he was staring over my head.
Like he was looking at something else beyond you.
Yeah.
Did you feel threatened? Was this like a menacing type figure?
I didn't feel scared. I just felt like overwhelmed.
Okay. And did he have any type of weapon, or could you tell that?
Nope. If he did have anything on it, I couldn't see it.
So you don't feel that this was a Civil War era soldier?
I don't know if it was or not. I mean, like I said, I don't know. It's like he had colors on. So when I told my dad, he was like, "Oh, that might be a soldier," because they wore this color. So it's like, I don't know what a soldier looks like. I didn't see any pictures of what they used to wear or anything. So I really couldn't tell you.
And how old were you when this happened?
9 or 10.
So you didn't really have any basis for what a soldier looks like. There's no, nothing had been like concreted into your head as far as a description.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just going to say, back then all I knew a soldier was what they were like today at the camo and all that.
Was this someone that you feel like was an older gentleman, or was this a younger person? Or
he was young.
Did you feel like when he was? You said he was looking like beyond you, at like past you. Did you happen to look in the direction that he was looking in? Was there something there that could help you determine like what he was looking at, or why he may have been there? What caused that apparition to appear?
I didn't even think about that at the time. I was just like, whoa. I didn't look behind me where he was looking. It was just like, why is this guy here?
Okay, and how long did the whole thing last?
It wasn't very long, maybe like a second or so.
And he pretty much disappeared right before your very eyes.
Yeah, it was like he didn't fade out, he didn't float away or anything. He was just gone. It was like turning on or off a light switch.
And this was a full-bodied apparition from head to toe. You saw everything, correct?
Yeah.
Do you know how rare that is to see a full-bodied apparition? That is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely rare. Most of the time, whenever we see an apparition, it's usually partial. Like most of the time, the legs will be missing for whatever reason, and I think that's just because it takes so much energy for the spirit to manifest itself, that it can't get enough to present its whole figure. And I'm very interested to know if you felt like drained or tired or anything right directly after that experience. Like if it was using some of your energy to manifest.
I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like I was really overwhelmed, and I sat down in the car, and it like took me a second to like, regroup myself, and then I finally told them, and I couldn't tell you if that was being drained or not. I was just like, just like something crazy. I don't know if it was just like shock or what.
Right. And was this what was the weather outside? Was it cloudy? Was there like overcast or stormy or anything like that?
It was a bit cloudy.
Sometimes if it's stormy weather, they can spirits the theory is they can use the weather, their electrical charge that's in the air, to help manifest. And was this during the day, or was this at night or towards the end of the evening?
Yeah.
It was like in the evening time?
Yeah, like we were going to go home after that, like back to the hotel.
Well, that's very interesting. I believe that you really got to see a rare sight, which is a full-bodied apparition. And it sounds to me like this might not have been a spirit, but more of a ghost. And there's a difference between spirits and ghosts. Spirits are intelligent entities, and ghosts are more like recordings. So usually the spirits are the ones that interact with us, and the ghosts are the ones that you just see them, and they repeat the same thing over and over and over again, and like it's on a tape, and you never get to interact with them because there's no intelligence behind it. It's just a recording. So it sounds to me like you possibly could have seen a full-bodied manifestation of some sort of ghost if it didn't interact with you or anything. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, different from like my aunt's experience, for instance. You know, I different than hers, and I was wondering why, because I never knew the difference between ghosts and spirit. This just like goes hand in hand in my mind.
Well, I wish that I would have been there to witness that with you, because that's, like I said, it's such a rare phenomenon. So count yourself, I think, among one of the lucky people who get to see a full-bodied apparition. And it's really rare outside during the day as well. So you had just a very rare thing happen to you.
Yeah, it was, like I said, it was crazy experience, but I'm glad it happened.
If I add something to that, Jan, she told me that when she turned around, she was like staring at his hand, and then she looked up and he disappeared. But where we were parked at, the park had cut a road through there, so if the road wasn't cut, as someone was standing there back in the day when it was a farmland, she probably would have been looking about kneecap level with him. So that kind of checked out.
Was this a new road that was cut, or was this part of the normal park tour?
Yeah, it was cut there for the park. If it was from where there was a park there, then yeah, he would have been probably standing about that high, which kind of was a little bit of confirmation. I mean,
well, I've been to Gettysburg, and I'm familiar with the general area where you're talking about, and that was an area where there was a lot of all over the park was where a lot of soldiers were killed, but especially in that area right there. And so it doesn't sound like it was a Civil War era type soldier, but you never know. I mean, it could have been, or it could have been someone that was somehow attached to the property, maybe a property owner or family member, or who knows. It's hard to say.
Oh, yeah. That's true. All I can say, I'm a surveyor by trade, but the topography, if the road wasn't cut there, he would have been about knee level with where Hannah was standing. That's all I can say on it. But,
and you didn't see this apparition at all?
No, she popped in the car and she said, guys, I was saying, guys. I said, what? She said, there was a guy right behind me. So it was exciting. It was neat. But yeah, we didn't get to experience it.
Now, did you have anything else strange happen to you while you were at Gettysburg?
No, we did the ghost tours and everything, and it was fun, but nothing really after that.
Have you had any other unexplained events happen to you that you care to talk about?
Yeah, I did see an unidentified flying object. I was at a haunted house, for Halloween, where the kids all dress up and you go in there and they try to scare you. So we're standing in line.
Like a professional
My sister
house.
was there. Yeah, a haunted attraction. And so we were all standing in line. And my sister's there, my ex-wife, and my sister's ex-husband. And the girls were talking. And I'm looking up at the sky. It was a clear, beautiful night. And I see a V of lights. That's probably, I'd say 7 of them in a V form. Solid white lights coming across the sky. And I'm thinking, what could that be? Because I'm next to an airport, and I know what a plane looks like, a helicopter, and nothing's blinking, you know. I'm just watching them. I'm thinking, is it a kite? Is it some kind of show they're putting on for the amusement park or whatever? Yeah. And I didn't say anything about it until the last 2 in the V, the 2 at the tail of the V, start swirling a little bit. Circular motion. I'm like, look, everybody. And the girls keep talking, not paying any attention to me, but Eric looks up, he sees it with me, but all the lights start buzzing around like a bunch of bees in the sky, faster than, you know, the G-force would allow a human to be in this craft. And then they just dart off into the sky, just gone. And he's like, whoa, you know. Then the girls thought we were just trying to scare them. They didn't believe us.
So how many lights total were there that you saw?
7, I'd say.
And this was in a classic V pattern, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you feel like each light was its own individual like craft? It wasn't part of you know, like one overall big craft. It was, each one was a separate.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been solid. It was what I was thinking. Maybe it was a kite or something, because it was, you know, they were perfect formation, you know, on across there. And but once the 2 started swirling on the end, and then they all went crazy. Yeah, they had to be individual.
What color were they, Jason?
Solid white.
Solid white. And now,
yeah.
I know you said you're a surveyor by trade, so you're used to measuring distance. And measuring from the ground to the air is a little bit tricky, but how far away would you say those lights were from you?
Oh, I'd say they were lower than a plane, like maybe like a small plane, about that distance. It wasn't like a jet you'd see way up there. It was about as far as you'd see a helicopter or a small plane, not that far.
And this was at night?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the stars were out. There was not a cloud in the sky.
Okay. And what did you have anything like missing time or anything like that, or any other thing that you can't explain, or was this just like your standard close encounter of the first kind?
No, just standard. I saw it, and I'm glad they didn't see me. I didn't want to put that.
Yeah. So, and you say you had a friend with you who saw it, and how many other people were around that you know were able to see this?
Well, we were standing in line, a long line, twisted through rails, you know, like you're waiting to get on a roller coaster, and there probably was 100 people there anyway. You know, it's close to Halloween, and a lot of people there for the attraction.
So do you think more than just the 2 of you saw this thing? I mean, obviously you had to if there's that many people there.
You would think, but I didn't see anybody reacting. Everyone was just kind of chilling, talking, and nobody else pointed up or anything. So it might have just been me and Eric.
So, you know, sometimes people who see objects in the sky like that, they say that when it happens that they feel like the objects were showing themselves only to them, and that they had some sort of ability to project themselves to only those who they wanted to see it. Did you get any type of sense like, you know, this thing is just whatever it is, it only wants me and my buddy Eric to see it? Do you feel like they were trying to make some sort of like contact or something like that with you?
No, I don't think so. I think I was just appreciating how dark it is out there. It's farm country, and you don't really get to see the stars up, that many of them. And I was just kind of appreciating it, and I got lucky. Yeah, I'd say I got lucky. That's all.
Got lucky, huh? Well,
yeah.
Are you prior to that, were you a believer in UFOs and aliens?
I'm open-minded. I guess so, but I'm not really sure. I mean, it could be government. Maybe it's a drones of some sort that we don't know about. I don't know. Some kind of top secret thing, but it went out into space. That's what gets me. So, or it disappeared somehow. It looked like it zoomed out. But
so, did this whole experience change your mind? Do you feel more? Are you more of a believer now, or are you still that skeptic?
Oh no, yeah, definitely. There's something either interdimensional, other worlds, or that or the government's way farther ahead than they let on. One of the three.
And what about your paranormal experience that you had while you were in Gettysburg? Were you a believer in the paranormal prior to that? And did that experience that you had, did it change your mind any?
Yeah. My daughter's not the type to tell stories, and I totally believe her 100%. Yeah, it didn't really change my mind because I always did kind of believe, but yeah, that's definite confirmation.
And Hannah, what about you? Were you a big time believer in the paranormal prior to this, or did this, change your mind, or did this just kind of cement into your head like, yeah, there is really something off to this?
Well, I had experienced a little bit before this. I mean, always I thought like playing tricks on me, or like this can't be real, But then when that happened, it was like, yeah, for sure, this is a thing.
Have you had any other experiences happen to you since then?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You care to elaborate on any of that, or you want to save that for maybe another time?
I could elaborate. It's fine.
Okay, tell me a little bit about one or two of your other experiences then.
So we have a dog at my mom's house. He's a little black thing. We don't know what he is. But, sorry, I got distracted for a second. And I was sitting on the couch, and I thought I felt him brush past my leg. I felt him. So I reached down to go and pat him, and he wasn't there. So I called for him, and he was in this crate in the other room. And that really freaked me out. Like, I didn't know why I felt that on my leg. We don't have any other animals downstairs. Well, we didn't at the time. We had a cat, but she was always in my sister's room. Like, she's not allowed out or anything like that.
Whoa, that's freaky, man.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely 100% positive that the dog was not in the room like you thought he was?
No, he wasn't. It was like right afterwards. Dozer, come here. I called him. He got up out of his crate and came running over to me.
Did you have any other pets in the house prior to that maybe had you had lost, that had died, that you think it could have been a prior pet?
No, we had. Well, I don't want to say just moved in, but we moved in. We didn't have any other pets before Dozer that died or anything like that. So, well, no dogs anyway. We had gerbils, but they got big.
Hannah, do you feel like maybe you have some sort of latent psychic ability or mediumship or something that makes you more susceptible to these types of things?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my sister and I talk about it sometimes because she has some experiences too and stuff. Like when she was little, it happened a lot. It doesn't really happen anymore, like too much. But, we talk about it, and I don't know, because it's such a weird concept to me, I don't want to say yes, I don't want to say no.
Well, if you continue to have these types of experiences, then it's probably because you have something within you some untapped ability that you don't know about. If you're looking for, I don't know, more help or more information, I have a real good friend of mine. His name is Rick Hayes. His website is lifesgift.com, and he's also on Facebook, Rick Hayes. And he is what he has always called himself as a paranormal communications specialist, or a paranormal communications consultant, excuse me. He might be able to help you develop or your skills, or give you some insight as to why this stuff happens to you. You should reach out to him and tell him that I sent you to him. If you're interested in pursuing it, and he may be able to tell you, why this is happening to you, or if you have some sort of untapped ability within you, he may be able to tell you, how you can fine-tune your ability. So it's something you might want to consider.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I'd love to talk to someone about it. I don't know any people who have any other abilities or anything like that I could talk to, so that would be nice.
Yeah, well, after the interview's over with, I will email your dad his contact information and put the two of you in touch with each other, and maybe he can give you some answers to some of the things that's happening to you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would probably be the easiest way that I could think of to, because I'm not going to be able to point you in the right direction, but I know that he could. So I'll definitely put the two of you in touch.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome, and thank you for sharing your experiences with me. That's it's nice to see somebody that is as young as you are, who has the potential to have some sort of ability that's not, that you haven't tapped into yet, and maybe, who knows, maybe in the future you're going to be some sort of famous psychic medium or something. I can say, hey, I interviewed her first.
I'm happy for the best.
Well, like I said, thank you for sharing your stories with me. I really appreciate it. And I want to switch gears now and talk to Jessica. Jessica, you've been sitting there all quiet and patient, and I really appreciate you sitting there waiting your turn. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I understand that you have had some stuff happen to you when you were staying at a friend's house, correct?
Yes. That was my best friend, 15 years old, so I'm 36 now, so it's been a while.
Just a minute. Just a couple of years.
Yeah. And her parents were divorced, and we lived here in Pennsylvania, and her dad lived in Ohio, and just purchased a house, him and his wife, and wanted us to come stay with them and go to Cedar Point for a few days and, all that. So she asked me to go with her, and we went, and this is an older house, and it's set right across from a prison in Lima, Ohio.
Wow.
Right across the road. And that was kind of creepy when we got there, but, we were young. It was like, oh, kind of cool, there's a prison over there. So,
yeah, okay.
yeah. So it was just her dad and her stepmom. And her dad was a military man. He was in Vietnam, so he was pretty, how am I going to say it? I would say strict, more like, I'm not afraid of anything kind of guy, he don't believe in no nonsense, stuff like that, So,
right.
when we first got there, there were 3 bedrooms upstairs and a bedroom downstairs. They stayed in the bedroom downstairs. And they told us they put an air mattress upstairs for us because she didn't have any kids. And Angela was my friend. She was the only kid. So we took our bags upstairs and tried to get the dog, Midnight was his name, to come with us. He was all black dog. and we're calling him to come up the stairs, and he's just growling and growling. He wouldn't come up the stairs. He was staying at the bottom. And Angela even tried to carry him up, and he, like, freaked out and jumped out of her hands and ran back down the steps.
Wow.
And she said, that's weird, you know. He was never like that before. So we went up there, and we put our stuff in the room, and there was, like, no furniture in this upstairs at all, nothing but the air mattress on the floor in every room. I'm thinking, that's weird. I know they live here, but you think they would store stuff up here, you know, all this empty space. So that night, they had worked together, the dad and the stepmom. They had their own business, so they, you know, go to work together during the day. But that night, me and Angela stayed up, and we rented movies, and we were watching movies. And I was sitting on, there was like a love seat underneath the stairway behind it. And she was laying on the couch, which was like catty corner from where the love seat was. And we were just, you know, being kids, vegging out, watching, you know, the movie. And I looked over at her, and she looked at me. She was, like, staring right above me, and her face turned, like, real pale, and her mouth dropped open. And it scared the crap out of me just to look on her face.
Yeah.
So I, like, jumped over on the couch beside her, and I looked back where I was sitting, and straight above me where I was sitting on that love seat, there was a woman leaning over the banister. And she was, like, clear, like white, all white. You could see through her, kind of.
Holy crap.
But, yeah, she was leaning, like, right over where my head was. But she was staring right at us, like, staring straight through us. And I could only see, it's funny how you said most people can only see, like, half the body. Because I only remember seeing, like, probably from the waist up.
Yeah.
Well, we were focused more on her face, but, you know, I couldn't tell you if there was legs or not.
Right.
So we were like, oh, crap, and we took off running, like, through the kitchen. You go through the kitchen from the living room, and that was her dad's bedroom, and the bathroom was right beside it. I don't know why we ran into the bathroom, but we did because we were young kids, and shut the door. And then we were, like, too scared to come out of the bathroom, so we were pounding on the wall trying to wake her dad up, which was right into the next room. And we were, like, turning on the hair dryer and pounding on the wall and screaming, and nobody heard us. So we ended up staying all night in that bathroom. We wouldn't come out.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
You spent the night in the bathroom behind a locked door.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Do you feel like whatever that was, did it try to come, like, after you, or?
No, nothing else happened that night. We got up in the morning. Actually, her stepmom came in the bathroom and found us in there. But we were telling, you know, the stepmom and the dad about it. And he's going, oh, you girls are crazy, you know, just as we expected. We knew he wouldn't believe us. And she wasn't saying much, the stepmom, you know. Well, they went to work, and we were, like, scared to stay in the house. We weren't going upstairs for nothing, you know.
Right.
And so we were like, the dogs wouldn't go up there, like, growling at the steps. And the radio came on in the kitchen. They had, like, one of them radios underneath hanging from the counter. And the radio came on full blast. And the light came on in the bathroom. It wasn't on. Then it went back out. We, like, grabbed the dog, and we ran across. There was, like, they lived on a corner lot. And across one side of the road, there was, like, a little business that wasn't opened. It was, like, an empty parking lot. And the other road, of course, was the prison. So we sat in that empty parking lot, like, most of the day. And we just watched the lights and heard the radio going on and off and up and down in the house. It was crazy the next day. And we told her mom, or her stepmom and her dad when he came home. We told him all about it. He said, oh, I got all these lights set on timers because I don't want nobody messing around with the house. So we're like, that's the craziest timers I've ever seen. You know, it was going on and off.
Yeah,
it was
all day.
We thought we were going crazy. So the following day, the stepmom took off work. She said, I'm taking off work today. I'm going to spend the day with these girls and go shopping, you know. And she took her shopping, and she said, don't tell your dad, but I know what you girls are talking about. I hear stuff in that house all the time. I don't know how much longer I could stay here, you know. she said he won't believe me. She said, I don't want him to think I'm crazy, so I never say anything because I know how he is. Yeah.
Wow. So do you know anything about the history of the house or the property or anything like that? Was it connected somehow to the prison, or do you have any idea?
Yeah, I never did any research.
And how long did this family continue to live in the house after that?
Not very long. I think it wasn't even 6 months, and they left the house. Which, my friend Angela, she laughs about that because her dad wouldn't admit to anything, but we think he probably seen her. He knew something was going on. He just won't admit to it.
Any more appearances by the woman in white?
No, just that one appearance. We heard the doorknobs just going upstairs, footsteps, everything you could hear. We heard it in that house. Yeah.
Wow. So there had to have been something that was either associated with that property or something that happened in that house prior to that family moving in. I really would love to know what the history behind that is, because there's a story there, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And your friend never saw the lady again after that, and did she ever see any other entities that she admitted to?
No. No, she says that's a story that she still tells to this day. It's funny how you don't forget the details,
Well, something like that, when you're 15 years old, that's traumatic, and that's obviously seared into your memory for the rest of your life, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can you describe what the face of the apparition looked like?
Well, I couldn't. It looked like a younger woman. I wouldn't say she was real old. Maybe in her 30s.
Did it try to speak or say anything or make any noises or anything?
No, it just looked like she was staring right through us. Her hair was hanging down over her railing. Long hair. I couldn't tell you, maybe a gown or a dress she was wearing.
Well, I'm sure at that point you were so freaked out, you're scared and already in fight or flight mode, and you're running down the hall, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was scared just by seeing my friend's face. I've never seen somebody's face like that. And then I had to look, of course, and when I looked, oh man, it was so scary.
And she was so scared she couldn't even make a sound, huh?
Yeah, the thing's she was leaning over my head. Why was she leaning over my head like that,
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if you were the target or if it was just location,
Yeah.
And what about you personally? Have you ever had any other experiences happen since then?
No, I haven't. That's why I think it definitely had to be something with that house, because that was the only experience we've had.
Yeah, I will agree. It's the house or the property. Something going on with one of the two of those things. Probably the house.
Yeah.
Well, Jessica, I certainly appreciate you sharing your story with me. That is one of the more creepy stories that I've heard in a long time. I can't imagine what I would have done being 15 years old and having something like that happen to me. Probably the same thing, go hide in the bathroom for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and that's what we couldn't understand either. Her dad and stepmom couldn't wake up for nothing. We were literally screaming and pounding on the wall. Who can sleep through that? How is that possible? You know?
See, that right there is also creepy as well, and I'm glad you touched on that, because normally you would think that if you had two young girls screaming their head off, pounding on the walls, hairdryer going, that would wake somebody in the house up. It's almost as if there was something going on that was preventing, like you're in a soundproof room, that something was preventing the sound from getting out, or maybe the whatever was going on was making the parents sleep unusually deep or something like that. That's also scary to think about.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do some research into that and that phenomenon and see if I can find out anything else about it. Maybe I can let Jason know if I find out something, and he can pass the info along to you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on and telling me your story. And Jason, I appreciate you. And Hannah, I appreciate you coming on and telling me everything that happened to you as well. I'm just going to refer to you as the Paranormal Family from now on, I think.
Oh, geez.
It's an honor.
Well, I didn't, they were like excited about theirs. I'm still scared of mine. So I don't want any more. That was enough for me.
Yeah, that was one and done. That's enough. Yeah, yours was definitely not a pleasant experience at all, it sounds like. And I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to experience anything like that again either.
No.
Well, we're about to run out of time here, and I want to say once again how much I appreciate the three of you coming on and telling everybody your story. And you know, a lot of people don't want to come out and publicly, you know, tell stories like this when it happens to them because of you know, being looked at like you're crazy or being, you know, made fun of or something like that. And it takes a lot of courage to, you know, publicly tell your story, and especially come on a podcast like this that's literally heard all over the world and tell your story. And so I think the three of you are very brave, and it's a very unique family. Like I said, I'm just going to refer to you guys as the Paranormal Family from now on. And I really appreciate the three of you being here as a trio of guests here on this episode of ParaReality Radio. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hey, thank you, Sam, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, once again, it was a pleasure to speak to all of you, and if you'll you guys just hang on the line for just a minute, I'm going to sign us off the air here. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, everybody, that was Jason, Hannah, and Jessica, or as I like to collectively refer to them, the Paranormal Family. I really appreciate them taking their time out of their busy schedule to make it a guest appearance here on your favorite paranormal podcast, ParaReality Radio. I certainly hope that you all enjoyed listening to tonight's show. Let me know what you thought about it by sending me an email, sandman@parareality.com. That email address is sandman@parareality.com. And speaking of parareality.com, that's the website for the show. If you're not a regular visitor of parareality.com, I want you to be. I want you to go to your computer right now after this show is over with and type in www.parareality.com and go to my website. That's where you can find out all kinds of interesting information about the show. You can listen to the current episode and past episodes in the archive section. And if you click on the Extras tab, you can also join the official ParaReality Radio forum. It's free to join. You can shop in the ParaReality Radio store and buy some ParaReality Radio swag and help support the podcast. And you can even watch some show videos and other stuff. I did have, there goes my creepy clock again. It's every episode. Anyway, I do have some videos up there. I have a 3-part series that I did called News of the Strange. I haven't been able to do a News of the Strange video podcast in a little bit, but I'm going to be bringing that back here as soon as I can. So I've had some people say, what the hell, you did 3 News of the Strange videos and then you haven't done one in a while. It's a timing issue, people. I will get back to doing it as soon as I can. Anyway, also at parareality.com, I do have the latest and greatest paranormal news on the internet. They're on the news section. It's updated every day, and it contains paranormal news from all over the globe, not just about ghosts and hauntings and spirits, but it also has cryptozoology, aliens, UFOs, ancient astronaut theory, stuff of that nature. So if you need to get some one good spot for all of your paranormal news, that would be parareality.com. And also don't forget to look up ParaReality Radio on Facebook. It's ParaReality Radio. If you just do a Facebook search and you can find it. I'm also on Twitter. You can follow me there at ParaReal Radio. I post a lot of interesting stuff on Facebook and Twitter, like upcoming guests and shows and interesting articles and my viewpoints on stuff. So make sure you follow me both on Facebook and on Twitter to stay updated on what's happening with ParaReality Radio. And you can now listen to the show on a variety of different websites and streaming platforms. The show can, of course, be heard right here on Spreaker every first and third Friday of the month, but now you can also hear it on Facebook and YouTube as well. And if you want to stream the show, you can do it from ParaReality.com, or you can stream it from, like I said, Spreaker. You can stream it on Google Play, Stitcher, Player FM, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I'm also on Caster as well. So if you have any of those apps on your phone or on your computer, you can listen to ParaReality Radio on all of those different outlets. If you have an Alexa device, you can enable any of the skills for those podcast hosts. You can open them up and simply say, Alexa, play ParaReality Radio, and bam, there you go. You'll have ParaReality Radio playing on your smart speaker. Well, everybody, that does it for tonight. The show is going to return on Friday, July 19th, 2019, at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Everyone, I hope that this radio program opens up your mind to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I will see everybody again in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
If you wish to change, you must first lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe.